Hey guys, so I'm here in Turkey in Bodrum and I'm going to do a painting of this scene of the sea, but before I do I'm going to go and jump in and have a swim, because often when I paint somewhere I always want to swim or enjoy the scenery afterwards. Sometimes I just don't have time to do that, so I get so caught up in the painting. So my tactic now is to enjoy the scenery first and then paint after. So let's go for a quick swim and then let's start painting shortly. That's nice. Not too cold, quite salty. But the perfect remedy for a hot, sunny Turkish summer is a nice dip in the Aegean Sea. So I've gone for a swim and now I'm ready to start painting. It's about 5 o'clock, so quite late in the evening. The sun's relatively low in the sky, but I really like the boats in this scene. I think they're going to be quite a focal point. Also the reflections of the boats glistening in the water, and then some of those houses off in the distance I think will also look quite nice. So remember, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and let's start painting. I'm painting on an acrylic gesso primed panel that I've toned to a slightly warm pinkish grey, and the panel I'm painting on is 40 by 25 centimeters. And here I'm using raw umber paint to paint in the main shapes of my composition. I'm now painting in the sky using a filbert brush, and I start by painting the section of sky which is above the horizon, which is the lightest and warmest section of the sky. As the sky goes further and further up, it takes on a deeper blue hue. For this section above the horizon I'm using a mix of ultramarine blue, a touch of cerulean blue, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre and titanium white. And I'm also applying the paint quite thinly, as this allows some of the warm underlayer tone to shine through and give this section of sky a slightly warmer quality. And as I go further up in the sky I create a colour mix which has more ultramarine blue and cerulean blue. And here I'm painting in the distant hills which are on the horizon, and I'm being careful not to overstate these. I'm keeping the value quite light and not too different from the value of the sky, although it is darker. I don't want to make these too dark, as by keeping these quite light it helps push them back in distance and creates a better sense of depth to the scene. And here I'm painting the general section where the houses are on this hill in the distance, and I'm just painting this as a white shape, as I'm trying to simplify the scene as much as possible at this stage. And as I go I can start adding in some smaller details to get a bit more specific with certain shapes within the composition. I'm now going in with a slightly darker low chroma green mix with quite a fine filbert brush. And the reason that this mix is darker is because I want to separate this mountainous shape from those distant mountains, and by making it darker it instantly brings it further in space and it starts to bring out the lightness of the white houses. And I'm painting on top of this general white mass that I made to start to get more specific with the shape that the mass of houses is creating. And here I've made a colour mix for the shadows on the houses, which is a sort of light purplish blue, as the shadow section is receiving reflected light from the blue sky. And I'm using a round pointed brush to pick out a few of these shadows on the right hand side of the buildings to create the sense of light hitting the houses. And it also helps me define the shapes of these houses and really makes them start to look like buildings on the hill rather than just a mass of white. So here I'm starting to paint a boat into the scene, and I really want the boats in the scene to become some of the main focal points of the composition, as there is quite a lot of boats dotted around this harbour, and I like the reflections that they're causing in the water. Although for now I'm just trying to get in the main dark shapes and then going in with light paint to paint the general shape and form of the boat. So as I've been observing the sea, I can see a distinct shift in value and colour temperature, with the sea further in the distance being a lighter, paler, purplish blue, and as the sea gets closer and closer to the foreground, it takes on a darker value with a greener hue. So to start, I paint this transition quite gradually from the horizon to the foreground. Then I'm going to start picking out a few dark accents of the ripples and the waves, and some lighter sections where the sky is getting reflected into the water. So one thing I've figured out from observing and painting water many times is that it's often best to paint the soft transitions within the water, the general shifts between light and dark sections softly, and then once I've got this established, I can pick out some sharper accents with single brush strokes, such as some light streaks where the water is facing perpendicular to the sky and is reflecting more of the light of the sky. And by painting a few of these sharper brush strokes, as well as a few sharper accents of the waves and the ripples, and having this combination of soft and sharp edges within the water, you can start to create a very lifelike and realistic effect to the water, as it is something which is quite difficult to paint, as it is always moving and the shapes within the water are moving. There's no one colour or one value. There is a lot of shifts in colour and value and colour temperature within the water, so you really have to observe these and then paint the impression of it, as every time you look up at the scene, the shapes will have moved slightly. So you really have to try and get a feel for this, and I find by painting the soft shapes first and then sharp shapes on top is one of my main tips for painting a realistic water. And to finish off this painting, I'm just painting this small green boat in the foreground, as I really love the green colour that it has, which is getting reflected into the sea. And also, as the sun is quite low in the sky, it's getting hit by some direct sunlight, which is causing it to create some sparkles within the water. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of me painting this seascape in Bodrum, Turkey. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really helps out the channel. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at George Frederick Thomas And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.